Hello, I'm Alex Xydias, and I'm once again going to serve as your time travel guide. That's right, we're going to go back in time today to 1957. We want to go back and see this great race, but before we go, I'm going to have to bring you up to date on what's going on around the world, because we don't want you to be too shocked. The biggest thing that probably happened in '57 was this little steel ball circling the world, beeping about every 2 seconds. It was called Sputnik, and it really hit us hard because the Russians had beat us into space. We didn't like that, and we would catch up. We also had our own problems at home. President Eisenhower had to send federal troops to Little Rock, Arkansas to help integrate the schools. It was the beginning of a lot of civil rights progress in this country. The Teamsters were thrown out of the AFL-CIO because of their organized crime affiliations. That was back in the Jimmy Hoffa era. In sports, there was a great deal of traveling going on. The New York Giants moved all the way to San Francisco, and the Brooklyn Dodgers moved all the way to Los Angeles. There was a very, very popular winner at Indianapolis that year, Sam Hanks. Oh, if you went to the movies last night, you probably saw 12 Angry Men, or you might have seen my favorite all-time movie, Bridge on the River Kwai with William Holden. Songs, Wake Up Little Susie and Jailhouse Rock were sort of typical of the time, but we were also enjoying a lot of show tunes coming out of Broadway. West Side Story and The Music Man both opened. TV, a lot of sitcoms. Father Knows Best, Price is Right, American Bandstand, a lot of kids learned to dance on that program, and Leave It to Beaver. There was one sad note in the entertainment business. One of our heroes passed away in 1957, Humphrey Bogart. And now it's time for us to go back to the pits, see what's going on out there. There were two cars that were attracting an awful lot of attention. One of them was this V8-powered Maserati that Fangio was going to drive. It was very powerful, and everybody thought it would probably win the race if it would hold up. It had broken down in the first event of the year in Buenos Aires. The second car that was probably had the most buzz of the whole place was this beautiful SS Corvette, the Super Sport. It had been developed by Arcus Duntov, and John Fitch and Taruffi were going to drive it. It had an all-magnesium body, bullet headrest. Oh, really a swoopy-looking car. It's just gorgeous. Saturday afternoon, an interesting thing happened. The crew asked Fangio if he would like to take this car out for a spin. No pun intended. And he agreed, because that's what he likes to do, drive cars. After 3 laps, well, let's go back to the qualifying first. Fangio qualified the Maserati fastest. You might expect that. 3 minutes, 25.8 seconds. Musso was right behind him in a factory Ferrari, 3:26. Moss, Ferrari, 3:26.8. De Portago factory Ferrari, 3:27.3. Then you can see Collins Ferrari, Berra, who was co-driving with Fangio, Hawthorne Jaguar, Shelby, a smaller Maserati engine, Crawford, the fastest Porsche, and then Fitch and Taruffi in the Super Sport. After 3 laps, Fangio turned a time of 3 minutes, 27.4 seconds. If you'll look up here, you'll see that that's the 5th fastest time of any car at Sebring that year. Quite amazing in a totally strange automobile. What a marvelous driver. Dan Gurney once told me that when he was in Europe racing, whenever Juan Manuel Fangio would walk into the room, all the drivers would stand out of respect. And it's easy to see why. Now, what we're going to do now is going to take some imagination on your part. I would like to use this car as our time machine today. We're going to all get in this car, and we're going to go back to Sebring 1957. Your cooperation is needed because you're going to have to close your eyes and picture this. But I guarantee you, if you keep them closed, when I tell you they're open, we're going to be back in 1957. Okay, close your eyes.
There's only one place in America where this could happen. Driving along a seldom used highway smack in the middle of Florida, we have come upon an entire factory team of Italian racing machinery, often referred to as sports cars. This is the Maserati team from Modena, Italy. Of course, there's a reason these men and machines from the land of the Caesars are driving along this particular road. In 3 hours and 15 minutes, they will be engaged in a great battle of speed and endurance. The deserted pits will contain the finest competition the sports car world has to offer. This is the sun brings the first stir of activity and promise of a hot day. Completing the 5-mile drive from the garage in Sebring, the blood-red Maseratis arrive, and like everyone else, head for the local gas station, where business is booming. This is what the official rules say about fuel. Pump fuel only must be used. Pump fuel is defined as any automotive gasoline commonly available at major oil companies' roadside filling stations in the United States, without any additives except upper lube. So-called water injection systems will not be allowed. Premium-grade fuel will be furnished to all contestants from official sources. Fuel will be supplied to all contestants in standard 5-gallon containers of standard opening. The use of other refueling containers is forbidden. Sorry, no green stamps. This man dedicates 365 days a year to this great event, the race secretary, Mr. Reginald Smith. And the man who started the whole thing, Mr. Alex Xydias, president of the sponsoring organization. Incidentally, this is being brought to you in compatible color. Very compatible. The pits have now become a beehive of preparation, as cars from Germany, England, France, Italy, and the United States are made ready. The Maserati team, while not putting all their eggs in one basket, are putting 2 of their best in a big red one. This is the world champion egg, Juan Manuel Fangio. Co-driving with the master is France's great Jean Barra. And this is the big red basket. The reason I say big is this 8-cylinder mechanical masterpiece. The overhead cam V8 has 4,454 cubic centimeters, just under 4.5 liters, largest in the race except for the Corvettes. As we said, they didn't put all their eggs in one basket. This is an English egg named Stirling Moss, second only to Fangio in the Grand Prix world. Moss will be in basket number 20, just as red, but with a much smaller 6-cylinder, 3-liter power plant. The American champion Carroll Shelby will be in factory car 21. Lance Ravetlo will co-drive his own Maserati, which he purchased just a few weeks ago. It was the first of the new 200 SI models to arrive in the States, and tests have proven it to be a terrific performer. Its crew has affectionately named it the Testa Nera, the Blackhead. Jim Kimberly is another who has switched to the new 2-liter from Italy. His crew is putting the final touches on the Red Beauty that arrived in this country just a few days ago. One of our better American drivers, Jack McAfee, will co-drive the Porsche factory entry with the German driver Hans Hermann. 4 of the new Alfa Romeos are entered. On the right, Colin Chapman from England, designer-builder of the beautiful little Lotus. On the left, Jay Chamberlain, sales distributor for the car in the western states. Chapman will co-drive number 59. Chamberlain will co-drive number 60. There are 2 of the 3-liter Mercedes 300 SL coupes entered. Both of the German-built machines are American-owned. These long-nosed Austin Healey's are entered by the American distributor of this popular British sports car. Again, we turn to an Italian threat. These are the competition creations of Enzo Ferrari. And we find that the man from Modena has brought along several red baskets of his own in which he will place a very talented group of eggs. This is factory car number 12, powered by a 3.5-liter V12 with, as you can see, 6 dual-throat carburetors. The car will be driven by one of the hardest drivers here, an all-around sportsman, the Marquis Alfonso de Portago of Spain. His co-driver will be one of Italy's top men, Luigi Musso. Numbers 29 and 30 are American-owned 2-liter models. The 4-cylinder engine has proven itself all over the world and gave the car its name, the now famous Testarossa, the redhead. A car that will not race today is attracting as much of a crowd as its competitive-minded relations. This beauty is the new Jaguar XK SS, blood brother to the equally beautiful D-type Jaguar, and the kinship is more than skin deep. The engine is basically the same. It has 3 dual Weber carburetors and produces 262 horsepower. Braking is by 4-wheel Dunlop discs, and it has right-hand drive. Here are the D-types that will carry the famous Jaguar Marquis into the battle that lies ahead. 8, 9, and 10 are 3.5-liter machines. 5, 6, and 7 are later models. They are more streamlined and have a larger displacement engine, 3.8 liters with fuel injection. The new Corvette hasn't arrived as yet, so let's look at the rest of the team. Paul O'Shea and Pete Lovely will co-drive number 2. Entered in the new Grand Touring class, number 3 and 4 will run as coupes. And now Mr. Allman addresses the driver's meeting. His first bit of information concerns the Ferrari factory. It seems the entry form said the engines had 3,400 cc's, but an official check found they contained 3,800 cc's. Enzo's boys were at a loss to explain how a slight error like that might have occurred. Now, with a final good luck and Godspeed, the meeting ends. Let's take a lap around the course so we can see just what this 5-mile battleground is like. At the end of the 2,000-foot pit straight, there is a fast bend, followed by just under 1,000 feet of concrete runway. Then, another fast bend. A short straight, and a wide, sweeping turn, which leads to the asphalt back road. Now that we have the feel of the car, let's finish the lap at a racing pace. Coming up, probably the most dangerous spot on the course, the S's. Followed by a very fast bend. And a short straight leading to the slowest corner on the circuit. As you can see on the sign, it's a true hairpin. This type of turn really eats up the brake lining. Now we have 3,600 feet in which to accelerate before braking again. This time for 2 90-degree corners. The first to the right. The second to the left. The next stretch is 2,300 feet long, with one very fast bend before downshifting for another 90 degree to the right. We are now on the fastest straight of the circuit, a wide concrete runway just under 1 mile long. There goes the XKSS, making a final check of positions before the start. A 90 degree to the right after being flat out, one of the many severe tests of man and machine on this Sebring circuit. Still another fast straight, this one just under 4,000 feet. There's the bridge over the starting line. Finally, the last two corners that will lead us back to the pits. Where starting time is just a few minutes away. Making a last-minute cockpit check, the Englishman, Peter Collins, who has been a great asset to the Ferrari team this past year. And here they are, just itching to stick their noses in someone else's business. This is the car that has probably created more of a stir than the other 64 entrants combined, the magnesium-bodied Corvette SS. It is a giant step forward by an American automotive manufacturer into the world of racing. This is John Fitch, a very fine American driver. Seated next to him is Zora Arkus-Duntov, who designed the SS. The beautiful blue job will need a lot of luck its first time out, and it will need it soon. Starting time is less than 30 seconds